Come with me to Halloween Horror Nights in Orlando. Guys, I have never been to Halloween Horror Nights before. This is my first time, and it was so much fun. Universal brought me out for the opening night ceremony. We got our badges, and then we went into this little area where we had a bunch of themed food. We got a sneak peek of some of the characters that we would be seeing that night on the way in. When we got inside, we got to see the setup. They had Five Nights at Freddy's themed food. Of course, they had the Clown Cafe, complete with an intestine tree, obviously. We got to listen to some people behind Halloween Horror Nights talk about where the ideas came from, and we had some guests, including Art the Clown himself. And then it was time to go into the houses, and of course we started with the Terrifier house. We had the little pale girl, we had like 100 different Arts. There he is in the Clown Cafe window, he's so cute. Arts popping out from every direction. We had Vicky there, we had Santa art, and then at the end, it was time to decide if we were going to go on the dry path or the wet path. Obviously, I took the wet path. The next house that we went into was the Grave of Flesh, and this one pretty much is about what happens to you after you die, and essentially a bunch of flesh eaters just eat you, so that's cool. And then we took a break from the houses to go to the Nightmare Circus. This show was insane. It had acrobats, it had fire, it had this guy doing whatever the hell this is. And then it was time to go to the Jason Universe house. If you guys love the Friday the 13th franchise, you're gonna love this one. We saw some familiar faces. Pamela! And then they had every different iteration of Jason throughout the franchise. There were so many.
Oh my God, how many of you are there?
We then went through this mutation scare zone, which was so cool because you got to see the progression of this mutation through people.
Mutations plague the streets of our city, turning people into...
And then we went to the WWE Wyatt Six house. I'm personally not a WWE fan, so I wasn't entirely sure the lore behind this, but from what I heard from people who are fans, they loved it. And then we went to one of my favorite houses of the night, El Artista, a Spanish haunting. This one was about this Spanish tortured artist who moves to this isolated manor in hopes that he can get some inspiration for his artwork, and he gets a lot more than he bargained for. This one was so beautiful. This courtyard was incredible. Minus the gargoyles that come to life and whatnot. And then we went to the Five Nights at Freddy's house where we saw Freddy put on an iconic performance. This was my favorite house of the night. If you guys are a Five Nights at Freddy's fan, you are going to absolutely love this. The animatronics were unreal. It was movie level animatronics. This house was really just a love letter to Five Nights at Freddy's fans, and it honestly made me even more excited for the sequel that we're getting later this year. I can't wait. And then we went through the Masquerade Dance with Death scare zone. This one was super cool. I loved all the costumes, and like some of the sets were so elaborate. I loved these women with like the stained glass costumes. And then we saw Mel's Die-In. Yes, you heard that right. Not Mel's Drive-In, Mel's Die-In, which is overrun with zombies. And then we went to go pay a visit to the crazy cat lady of Crooked Lane, who has been turning her trick-or-treaters into cats. Honestly, she's just misunderstood. And then we continued on with the houses, and the next one we went to was Hatchet and Chain's Demon Bounty Hunters, which takes place in the Old West. And these demons have invaded this town and are trying to possess everybody. Will you make it out alive? We did. Plot twist. And then we went into what was the scariest house of the night for me, Dolls Let's Play Dead, simply because I don't fuck with dolls. So if you don't either, you're gonna get scared by this one. This one's really cool because it's about this girl that tortures her dolls, and you become doll level, so everything else around you is giant. The next house we went into was Galkin Monsters of the North. If you're a fan of folklore, you'll really love this one. This one is about this witch that rises from the dead and brings with her this horde of demons and creatures to attack the townspeople. And then suddenly we were in the Wicker Man. And by the end of it, you were literally in the belly of the beast. This one was fun. And the final house of the night was the Fallout house. This guy was the scariest thing I had seen all night, honestly. I have not seen Fallout, so I wasn't really sure what was going on, but it made me want to watch it. So I'll get to that. And that's it. I made it through my first Halloween Horror Nights. Thanks, Universal. Love you. Bye.